Right.
All right. You're on mute. There
What's
you
up,
go.
Mackie?
What's up, Carl?
It's the favorite time of the week is KOVIKI talk time. And we're not talking to doctors today. We're talking to people that are going to tell their story. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been looking forward to this one for a minute. You had it scheduled out for a while. So we had some time to think about this episode, and it's one that we're really looking forward to. So, real quick, KOVIKI Talk is the multi episode series that talks about all things COVID-19 from the Pacific Islander perspective. So, like today, we have Pacific Islanders on the show to speak to the PI community,
Mm-hmm.
all things COVID-19. So, testing, the vaccine, when it was time to vote. How can that be 2020 and it's 2022? It seems like it's been going on for a long time. But that is COVID. That is KOVIKI Talk. And Naki, do you want to talk about our special people that we have here today?
Oh my gosh, yes. Thank you. Happy Monday. So, our first guest comes to us all the way from San Francisco. It is Kenny Masoli is a San Francisco Bay Area someone warrior, husband to his beautiful wife Linda, dad to Eli, Jeremiah, Mariah, and Zach, grandfather to Nicole, Amaya, Kennedy's Serena, and he's a man of God. He faced battle and won the biggest test of his entire life, and he is still a COVID survivor. Welcome, Kenny.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for
yeah.
having me.
And our next guest is Keresoma Sam La'a. He was born and still lives in San Francisco, California. Soma's father was the late Matayo La'a of Songi Leone, and his mother was Litia Tialeva'a of Fangalea Fangasa. His father helped the late Joseph King build his congregation in the mid 50s. Soma's mother helped the late Reverend Eliu Elisara build his congregation in the 80s. He was raised in the Hunters Point projects and went to McAteer High School, Leone High School in American Samoa, and Woodrow Wilson. Soma has been working as a community activist and in violence and gang prevention in San Francisco for almost 30 years. He tested positive in June of 2021 and will be sharing his story today. Welcome, Som.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, good, good. So I talk a lot of trash about the Niners, so I wanted to make sure because I got three Niner fans on with me
Oh, no,
that
no,
I
no.
wore my hat so I could take my lumps because the Steelers are out and the Niners are going on. And it is, I have to admit, I like to hate on the Niners, but I don't have anything to hate on the Niners this year. That team's got heart. They're finding ways to win. But I'll take my lumps. I wore my hat because I knew I was going to be on with three diehard 49er fans. So congratulations on how far you guys have gone so far. Naki, back to you.
Yeah, yeah. Bang, bang, Niner gang. That's all I got to say. And then I'm done with that. So, we do these two are the biggest or two or three of the biggest Niner fans. So it was a good day for us on Saturday. So everybody else,
Hey,
your
hey,
comments
hey.
to yourself, especially Mr. Steelers there. So
Oh,
the pandemic has been going on for like a year and 2 years. We'd have to say, let's make it a good 2 years. And within this 2 years, we know that the numbers for Pacific Islanders are high. Just by disaggregating the numbers that we have been doing this last 2 years, that the numbers for our people, our community is high. And it's because we live in multi-generational homes, we have underlying conditions. And so with saying all that, we know how severe COVID is. And I think in the beginning we were like, yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. And until you have someone who has had has caught COVID yourself and there's so many of us who have lost family members from this disease. But we wanted to hear the both of your stories so that other people can hear and listen about your journey and understand how serious COVID-19 is. So, Soma, we're going to start with you. Can you tell us before before you caught COVID, just tell us where you were with the vaccination and all that, and then tell us what happened.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for having me on the show.
Of course.
And I really appreciate being able to share a story with our community. I know that a lot of people like to not see anything, but like I think Brother Kennedy will agree with me that anywhere where we can save a life, man, we're going to share a story. So off top,
Yeah.
it's no secret I was an anti-vaxxer, from the gate. I really just thought that, like, oh man, I was like everybody on this live, and probably people watching. Like, I was thinking, oh, this stuff is gonna go away. It's not that serious. And come February 16th or March 16th, we'll be on our second year. So, I didn't catch it. You know what I mean? Because like for the whole 2020. I was good, I was great, I wasn't affected at all. But come 2021, it got kind of a little shaky. I started to like let my guards down and not mask up or anything like that. And so, I found myself in a how would they say, in a pickle. I just went one day because I felt kind of sick. And I went in to Kaiser, and like, the story was that the nurse that was coming in to check in on me, he was like, have you been vaccinated? And I was like, no, I don't want the vaccine. And so I think what happened was that nurse took offense to it.
Oh,
I felt.
Yeah.
And so he was like, why? Why don't you? Like that. Like, I'm like, bro, you don't got to get at me like that. This is my this is my belief. And so he went and came back, and they got to test positive when you're in the ER. I mean, they got to test you when you're in the ER. So he went and got the test, came back, and the brother opened the door. He cracked the door open and yelled it from the hallway. You're positive, right? I was like, what? So after they put that in, after they told me that, like, I started to get nervous because, for the whole 2020, I was good. And for the beginning part of 2021, I was good. And this was the last week of June, 2021. So, I come home, I'm quarantining. The doctor is like, me and the doctor, we had a conversation, and I was telling the doctor, I don't want the vaccine. I'm anti-vaxxer. And the doctor was like, why? And then I kind of like, just based off of what I read, not to say that it was the right thing to read, but I read what I wanted to read.
Right.
And what I was reading is what I wanted to believe. So everything that was for the vaccine, I wasn't believing that, and I didn't want to read it. And everything that was against it, I was like reposting, like, I was on board with it. And so she goes, let me just tell you something. She goes, why don't you believe in what's going on? And I just said, I can't believe that, y'all found a cure all of a sudden, but y'all can't get a cure for cancer or for AIDS. Y'all can't even get the cure for the common cold. And she goes, so let me just help you understand. This is not a cure. It is supposed to help slow down the effect of the COVID until they can find out how to beat it faster. So, I went through the whole quarantine thing. And then, I got a call from a couple that people love me. And they were like, hey, I understand you don't believe in the vaccine, but can you do me a favor and can you believe in us? We need to have you around a little longer. And I was like, wow. Okay, so I took that in consideration when I was done with the quarantine. I got on a video call with my doctor. She sent me back to work on Monday. She discharged me back to work Monday. Thursday, we had a video call, and then I just told her, I was like, "Look, doc, I think I'm ready for the vaccine." She was all like, "Yay!" She was happy. But I think what I didn't do was, and I believe I didn't do it, I didn't tell her when.
Uh,
So,
so
so
how long after you tested positive for COVID did your symptoms get severe?
it I don't think it got severe. What I think happened was I just opted to get the vaccine.
Mm.
So like like I like I said, she discharged me, so I did the whole quarantine for the month of July, and then I went back to work at the beginning of August. And when I told her that I was ready to go back to work, she was cool with it. The problem was I didn't tell her when I was going to get vaccinated. So Thursday we were on a call. Friday, Saturday I went and got the vaccine. So, which was a huge mistake because I get in, I get the vaccine, then I get to work. And thank God for Lynn. Lynn, I love you, Lynn. Lynn is my supervisor. Lynn Pelasuma, she's my supervisor. And she goes, "Say, bro, I think you should go home." I was like, "What's going on?" She goes, "You don't look too well." I was like, "What?" She goes, "You don't look too well. Maybe you should go lay down for a little bit." So I get to my brother Larry's house and I lay down. And then I just, for about maybe an hour, I'm napping and then I wake up and I just, "Larry, what? Take me to the hospital." So Larry was like, "You okay?" And I was like, "Just take me to the hospital. I don't feel right." So I get to the hospital, Kaiser on Geary, and they admitted me immediately. And so when they admitted me immediately, I didn't know what was going on. Like right now, I'm still trying to recall that date, so it's kind of hard. But it was February 13th. I got admitted into the ER. I mean, I got admitted. They got me a bed. I went to sleep, and I woke up. This was August 13th, and I woke up. It was August 26th.
Wow.
Wow.
So, um, they got my family together. They were asking them. The doctor was telling my family like, you guys need to look at some other options for him. And my sister Becca, and all you guys know who Becca is, and know how she get down. It was like, what? Like maybe consider something else. And so my sister said, "So what are you saying?" He doesn't look good. I had a ventilator in my system. I was intubated. I was all kind of stuff. Like they had all kind of stuff pumping in me. What do you call it? And so my sisters was like, they were like, "Wait, well, let us go back and talk." So Becca, Sal, Mele, Larry, like all of them, Liliengi, they all went and they had a conversation. And they came back to the doctor and they asked the doctor, like, "What are his chances?" And the doctor looked at them and told him, he has less than a 20% chance of survival. So, maybe we should think along the lines of like pulling the plug because I was on a life support system.
Hey, Psalm.
Yep.
One of the things, and we actually, that's a good point to before we get into that piece of it, because that's really the piece that, at some point I was worried about, both of you. You know what I mean? At some point I was thinking like, wow, these, like, we've seen our family and friends go. And when I heard of you at that point, that was a point where I was like, okay, now it's time to get, really, really
Right.
worried. But Kenny's got, as some of you have seen him, he is still really deep in the battle here,
Yeah.
and breathing is a piece for him. So we want to get his part, his story in pieces, so that we can give him a chance to rest. So maybe if you could just talk briefly, Kenny, about were you anti-vax before? Because Soma has talked about, and very brave for Soma to come out at this point and say, I was anti-vax, because a lot of people would just be trying to keep that on the under and like not be that way about it. But maybe really briefly, Kenny, did you believe in the vaccine? Were you anti-vax? Or did you have, some people have no opinion, either way about it, but we'll get that from you, and then we'll come back to Soma and then give you a chance to break, and we'll come back to you again. But were you anti-vax before?
Sure. I think when it came out, and thank you for having me also. But pleasure to be on your show, and a big fan of your show. And so continued success here. But, when it first kind of came out, the COVID, I think nobody knew what was going on. I mean, as far as like, rushing at the time, President Trump and the team of, everyone was looking for remedies.
Right.
And again, we look at this, and it wasn't just in the United States, it was worldwide, right? And so that's when, to me, I started really thinking about the seriousness of this pandemic, right? And so at the time, when it kind of first came out, I think we were just trying to get some kind of medication, vaccine for this, the COVID, right? And so I think everybody was praying for something at the time, or hoping or wishing for something to come soon, because people were passing away quick.
Yeah.
As soon as that kind of came out worldwide, from China all across Europe, and then, to the States. And then when it hit the States, it just really started to inflame, and, people were catching like wildfire. And so when it kind of came out, it was, to me, I was like, oh, fantastic. I mean, that's what we're waiting for,
Yeah.
because we want to try and stop it where it's at, whatever it took, and so I don't think I was anti-vaccine,
Okay. Yeah.
but I mean, I had my own thoughts about it after it came out, the vaccine itself.
Yeah.
With hearing stories about good and bad of taking or not taking, et cetera, that type of stuff. And so, but I was, at the time, I was for it, because I just seen the lives that people were dying, quick. It wasn't, I mean, not just throughout the States, and in some communities and in some families, 3 or 4 people dying in one family in a short period of time. And
Right.
so that was scary. That was scary.
Yeah.
Because if you were coming into your family's home and you were affected, what could it do?
Right.
And so just reasoning out, kind of going with the logic of how this thing is spreading and how it's affecting people. And so that was my thought when it kind of first came out. And so, but at the time, I was happy for it. I was happy to hear it. Let's see how it works. Let's see it work, in the communities in the world, right?
Yeah.
So,
did you know when
I'm
you?
sorry.
No, you're fine, Kenny. Did you know you were positive with COVID when you were home, or you didn't find out until you got into the hospital?
Well, if I could share a few things real quick, those who don't know me out there, and that's kind of shared my bio. Father of 4, with grandchildren myself, so kind of up there in age, but I've lived a life that's always tried to stay fairly healthy, so always exercising. And so, when this happened, I always felt like, I always believed I was invincible. I'm not going to catch this, because working out and, trying to stay healthy, eat the right things, stay away from whatever I might catch, including the COVID. And so I guess it might have been, I don't know if it came out in early 2000, because I didn't catch it until late 2000. And when I caught it, my brother, we were working together. I was doing some voluntary work. And when I was doing some voluntary work, I was with some brothers, some Musos, friends. And so when we were working together, one of my brothers said, hey, I feel weird. I think I might got it. Or he didn't test yet. But then he said, so you might want to go get tested. And I was like, like someone kind of, it's like, nah, I ain't going to get it. I've got my mask on, doing the, stiff arm, not going to be around anybody kind of thing. And so when he told me to, I said, oh, yeah, okay. So my wife kind of talked me into going to get it tested because I didn't care too much for testing.
Right.
Things up in my nose or, off limits to people, right? And
Right.
so I got talked into doing it. And so I did go. And I came home and the test obviously didn't come in for 2-3 days before I found out. And so that's kind of like how I kind of actually found out. But I didn't feel any symptoms the first week. And then it sort of creeped up on me later in the week, almost 6 to 8, 10 days is when I really began to feel the effects of what this can do to you. And so it was really almost dropped me to my knees, and then, I was doing a lot of, cardio, doing a lot of things with my boys. You guys know my kids, and so we work out a lot. They help me, I help them, and so we do a lot of light running. For me, they do the heavy running, I do the light running. So I do some kind of running just to kind of keep my health up and get the lungs going. And so when I felt the symptom, I really dropped to my knees. I almost could barely walk, and I could only walk maybe 2-3 steps, and then I had to sit down, and I had to breathe very hard, and it was really unusual for me because this ain't gonna knock me down. I'm just trying to get to the car actually.
Yeah. Wow.
Tell me, let's go take you to the ER. So let's go, and I think that you've been to the house, Carb. Sorry, when you get a chance, you someone to come by the house. You guys are always welcome. But anyway, coming down the stairs, flight of stairs, we have 3-story house, but I'm at the top, and so I'm coming down. Had to stop every 3-4 steps out of 20 steps to take about 3 or 4 minutes just to recover, to take 3 more steps to recover, on and on. Then I said, I'm just gonna take a dash to the car because this hurting. And I think when I hit the car, laid my chair back, then it took off, and I kind of like just slept all the way to Kaiser El Camino. And so that was kind of like my story as far as like how I kind of got affected by it. So that was just the first stage. So sorry, Carl, for a long answer there.
No. Linda is on. Hi, Sister Linda, Kenny's wife. And she said he literally trained for this battle because if he wasn't in shape, which I believe, that because you were in good health and you had the fight to fight, right? Like Soma too. Soma had the will to fight, because I remember when Soma was in the hospital, and you too, Kenny, that when Soma was in the hospital, people literally said, I was asking Sister Cree at the time, getting my updates, and they said that the doctors wanted to pull the plug on Soma, and because it was so severe, and they just thought they couldn't do anything, and that your family, thank God, said, no, let's hold on, right, Soma?
So there's 2 things that for both of you represented for me. One was Kenny is in great shape. Like, it was one of those things where I'm like, wow, Kenny got it, because that was just shocking to me that somebody in great health would get it. And Soma, it was exactly that story that Naki told, of like people were giving up, and it was because we've all lost somebody, but it's like Soma was one of those, not Soma, he's just going to kick it and he'll be through it. That was the big piece, and that people were giving up. But with Kenny, he's always been in shape. Like, it's the fitness level was one of those where I'm like, well, it can't get him because he's in shape. But going back to, I see someone's having connection problems, but that was a big piece of an eye opener for me, Kenny, was because, I understand fitness is something for you. You know what I mean? Like you have taken care of yourself. And I think like Linda had said, then it's not a matter of, you didn't catch it. It was because you had committed yourself to fitness that saw you through. Had you not been as in shape as you were, you might not be here with us. So, that's not a throw it in the garbage can kind of, well, no use working out because Kenny still caught it. No, Kenny beat it because he was in great shape. So we'll wait for Soma to come back. But I just want to say again, I appreciate, we're in the pre-show and Kenny is, he's pulling it all together and making it look strong. This is a lot of work. He's doing a great job.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, the time that we have. So we'll wait for Soma to reconnect, but did you going in, what were your thoughts as you were getting admitted and being in there for, COVID that everybody has, it's the thing of the world. What was going through your mind, and then talk about the presence of family or non-presence of family while you're in.
Yeah, good question, Carl. Thank you. First of all, I just want to say shout outs or thank yous to the people, the men and women in the medical field,
Right.
those who are helping out fight this COVID, because you see it on the news how with it happening so strong from the early stages up till now, even more so. Listen to your doctor's interview and how the doctor was pleading about getting the shot, etc. But I just want to say thank you to them out there, whether it's Kaiser or all the other hospitals out there nationwide, pat on the back, and more than that. So, but at the time, Carl, when I went in, it was I didn't think it was. I recovered within a few days, then all of a sudden it took a dive. It was like when I actually went in to ICU, it was about 10 days later from ER. 10 days later.
Wow.
So I thought like I'm ready to go home. What's wrong? What's a holdup? Let's take me home. And so when I went to ICU, it was a few more days after that I was put on the ventilator. And so it was almost like a month in the hospital, close to a month in the hospital before I even went on the ventilator. And so it was a battle still, that I thought that I didn't, like I'm ready to get out. I feel good. Let me get out. And so it was tough because at that time, early stages of COVID. Remember, COVID was locked down.
Right.
No visitors.
No visitors.
No visitors. And so it was really hard. I think in the early stage before I caught it, my brother had passed away. And so when he passed away, we couldn't even have a funeral like us Polynesians usually do.
Right.
Family, friends, loved one, etc. A huge crowd. And we had to be limited to 10 people. And I have a family of 30 kind of thing, and an extended family of like 500.
Yeah.
And so the thing about it is that it was really hard to deal with at the time. And so when I was locked down in the hospital, and it was really bad. So bad. I had my cell phone, no signal, so there's no communication. I could even communicate with my family.
Oh.
My wife, my children, my brothers, sisters, etc. And so it was hard. It was struggling just to kind of go through it that way. But yeah.
Yeah, I know during that time it was rough on Linda, your wife, and the kids, because when we're in the hospital, we usually have someone stay with us overnight, and for that not to happen, it's like we're going crazy trying to figure out, is he getting his water? Who's fluffing his pillow, right? And so I know that Linda was like sick with craziness, not being able to be there with you.
Yeah.
You had severe damage to your lungs, right, Kenny?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. And
and you still are you still in therapy? You still
you know, I've really it's so when I caught it back in December of 2020, 2020, and we're 2022, right?
yeah.
So I actually got out of the hospital and went to a rehab. While I was rehabbing in the hospital, they had after hospital therapy rehab, and I'm home still rehabbing. So because my lungs have been affected so bad, they call it scarring, and
Yeah.
so I have scars on my lungs. And if you remember scarring, like if you cut something on your body somewhere, then all of a sudden it heals up. You lift up the bandage, there's a scar, and so that's what happens to my lung. So I have scarring that still affects my breathing, and so it's just being determined to get things done and try to get back to normal. I
Yeah.
still battle, but I have a breathing machine stationary in the home, and if I go out, I've got a portable. So it's still a battle and a challenge, and I'm there for the fight.
Awesome. We're just gonna give you a little break so you can catch your breather. Soma, did you have any like severe damages that you went home and now you're going through any kind of illnesses, or what
Yeah.
happened when you came home? Did you have lung damage?
Actually, I was in a coma. So I think
Oh,
that's where I left off. I was in a coma, and the whole right side of my body was like almost dead. And so they had when I came up out of the coma, um, they had to do like the speech therapy,
mm-hmm.
the occupational therapy, and the physical therapy with me. Speech therapy because they had to reteach me how to eat. Occupational therapy because they had to reteach me how to put my clothes back on by myself independently. And then physical therapy because they had to teach me how to walk again. So it was bad because like when you're in that state and you have muscle memory of like how to do things, you don't want to be told what to do because you already know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you don't want to be told how to eat because you know how to eat.
Right.
Like why are you telling me how to put on my pants? I know how to put my. Why are you telling me how to walk? I know how to walk. So I was in. I woke up on the 26th, and they kept asking me what date it was, and I was like wondering, like, why you keep asking me? And apparently, your memory goes as well. So I woke up. I thought it was the next day, but they told me what date it was. I couldn't even comprehend that I was asleep for that long. And so when they kept asking me, like, and then I kept answering, like, no, it's August 14th. They was like, Mr. La, you've been asleep. You've been in a coma for this amount of days. And I was like, oh my God. So finally, they moved me from the room that I was upstairs to the room downstairs. And then my niece, Christina, thank God for her, she had got me a bed at a rehabilitation hospital in San Leandro called KIP. So I was there from September 4th and I was discharged October 29th.
Wow.
So I was there the whole time and I was miserable the first 2 weeks I was there. Because when you get there, they put you on quarantine. So I had these CNA nurses. I had a different CNA nurse every day. And it was making me mad because I wasn't getting no consistency.
You had to
And
start
then
all
next thing you
over
know,
with.
the nurse was telling me like, yeah. So, I was telling the nurse I can get up and go to the bathroom. And she kept saying, no, you can't. I'm like, you can't tell me what I can't do. I know how to walk. So I make myself push myself to the edge of the bed. I'm halfway off, guys. I put my feet on the floor, and my feet does not recognize the floor.
Ooh.
Like it doesn't know this feeling. So just imagine looking down at your legs, knowing that they can walk, but you can't muster up the energy to move them. Like
Mm.
like my muscle memory of walking was gone. And like no matter how much I said to myself, your legs can move, walk, it wasn't happening because they were telling me that the coma that you were in, it pretty much wiped you out. And so,
So
thank God for those
Soma,
people that, huh?
you had to learn how to walk again?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So thank God for the therapy people over there at at the the home, that they had got me back to movement. So I'm telling the nurse, the physical therapist nurse, he's asking me like, how'd you get here? So I'm telling him the story, and I'm thinking it's a normal story. Like I'm thinking everybody goes like this. And he kind of like stopped our therapy, and he goes, bro, you are the first person that I heard go through this with the ventilator, and you were intubated, and you're alive to tell the story. And I'm like, what? He goes, there ain't that many of you guys. There's few and far in between.
Mm.
So I thank God, because like I was telling Larry, and I thank you too, Neki, because we talked right before my birthday in September, and you were like, you gotta let the people know, put a video out, let them know that you're okay. So I did, and like people, they were in relief. But my brother Larry, he's not a social person.
Mm.
So I had all these backed up messages, like, how are you? What's going on? Like, can we get an update? And so like finally I get to a place where I can recall what happened. I can give a person an accurate account of what happened to me. But I told Larry, I was like, hey Larry, uh, you didn't do a good job at updating the people. And he goes, man, you don't talk to people like that. And I was like, I know. And then I just told him, I said, prayerfully and hopefully this it never happens again.
Yes.
But I want you to understand that I am a very social person. I'm a public person.
Yeah.
I don't hide nothing from nobody. I want people need to know. And I
Right.
said, people wanted to pray for me. They wanted to do something. They wanted to give back to me. Because, I've done for so many people. And I
Yeah.
never do anything because I know they're going to give it back. But, like,
Right.
I just do it out of the kindness of my heart. So, like, I told Larry, I said, whatever you do, bro, don't keep me a secret.
Yeah, that's
You know
right.
what I mean? Like,
I remember when that happened.
Jenny, like, I'm
Well, it was good. There was people that were close to you that were keeping everybody informed, because I made sure that I checked in. Creed did a really good job of letting people know how you were doing, so that people wouldn't bother your family while they're trying to, nurse you back to health.
right.
Kennedy, Linda, his wife, was like keeping the family. I mean, I was getting text messages from her once a week or once every other week, and she kept my mom up to date every week. So Kennedy, was it hard? Well, like when you got out of the hospital, because Linda was saying you were in for 3 months and a day. Like, did you have to, like, your mobile skills, did you have to
Oh,
learn to
dude,
walk? You know what I mean?
yeah. I was in the same boat as Soma was.
Mm.
I had to go through the same
Sorry, I
same
didn't catch
thing
that question.
in terms of um, you know had to learn to kind of feed myself because I had a trach. And they
Mhm.
put that in there, so it's hard for me to swallow, and so I had to
Mhm.
go through that process. Of so I was kind of like on a liquid diet, and they thought, your throat looks a little stronger, so we'll give you soft food versus liquid.
Right.
And so I was always sort of like someone just beating their odds, because they've seen too many that were sort of having a hard time, struggling to do the little things. Even if it was walking, I had to learn to walk again too myself, just through therapy, because although I was strong enough, I still needed a walker,
Yeah.
and sometimes a wheelchair to get to a destination, then stand up, and then do the shuffle, the old man shuffle. And so it was like that, and so, I always believed myself to be stronger than what I was doing. And so I pushed myself to do that. But I knew that, like someone said, my experience was that, what's wrong here? What's going on? I'm talking to myself, like, come on, let's get this together. Come on. And so pushing myself, but it was still a slow process. So when I got home, I couldn't walk up the stairs. Actually, I tried a few steps, and then I was so out of breath, my sons had to carry me the rest of the way up the stairs. I only walked like about 3 or 5 steps out of 20, and they had to carry me, 2 of them. They carried me to my room. And then coming out of my room, wouldn't even come across my threshold in my door, because looking at my stairs was looking at the edge of a canyon. And so it was sort of frightening in the sense that I didn't want to go down because it's going to be hard to get back up. And so I didn't want to put myself through that until I was strong enough. So I had in-house therapy, and for about 6 weeks, big help. It helped me get off the edge. I was able to walk downstairs and do my exercise in a bigger space than inside my room. The first week and a half, I was doing it in my room. After that, for the rest of 6 weeks, I was able to do it outside. And then when they finished after 6 weeks, I was able to get outdoor. And for the first time I was outside, I was sort of breathing air, because you're just locked down in the hospital all the time.
Mhm.
Then you get home, you're locked down again. And so when I get outside, just to feel the wind hit me, even though it's cold,
Yeah.
it felt good, praising the Lord,
Yes.
thanking the Lord for where I was at that time, knowing that I'm still struggling. I'm not where I want to be, but it's a work in progress. And so the thing about it was that, prior to COVID, I used to do a lot of walk. You guys are probably familiar with the Brisbane area, the harbor of Brisbane. So did a lot of walking there, almost 6 days a week, almost 4 miles a day, aside from going to the gym. And so when I was finally able to get outside, go to the park, do some walking, maybe take about almost a half hour just to walk 100 yards, because I was doing the old man shuffle, but I was carrying a machine, oxygen machine, to help me just to get through the walk. But the exercise, knowing that I got to get there, I'm going to get there. So trusting in the Lord, for me, coming Polynesian heritage, especially Samoans, our saying in Samoa, right? Mumole tua. So God first, and He'll take care of the rest. And so I just put my trust in Him to step out a little farther, step out a little bit more, challenge myself to do more, because I wanted her to get to where I need to go, so I can get out there. And it was a joy to come to your daughter's wedding, just to get on the plane. So I had some goals that I wanted to accomplish, and those little goals took steps. But dates were coming up, and I needed to push to get myself there to do those things, right? And so setting up those goals to kind of get there, and so it was a challenge, and still a challenge now, because I'm still not where I'm, and so you see my pictures behind me. My pictures are where I was, and I've got some new pictures of where I am now.
Yes.
Just the other day, I was able to climb a mountain here in the Concord area, and so this mountain, I think pre COVID, might have only taken me about 10 minutes to kind of get up there, but it's taking me about a half hour to get up there now. But the journey again we talk about, right?
Yeah.
And so this was a journey for me to try to get to where I want to go, because I still have goals in life. You know,
Yes.
I talk about everyone has a timeline in life, and I like to say we all have. God's given us 4 quarters in life. I'm in my 4th quarter. You know, so the first quarter is your first year to 20, then the second quarter is your 20 to 40, third quarter is from 40 to 60, your fourth quarter, third quarter was 40 to 60, and your fourth quarter is 60 to 80. And so I'm at that age where I'm in the 4th quarter of my life. If you go beyond that, over time, God bless.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm in the 4th quarter of life. And so my 4th quarter, I would still want to achieve things. I still want to be around to see weddings, to
But
see enjoy birthdays.
it makes you appreciate your time,
Oh,
right? It
thank
makes
you.
you
Yes,
appreciate everything.
exactly. I mean,
You too.
you know,
Someone came out of the hospital, and I see on social media, he's just like gung ho, taking everything on. Are you recovering well, Soma? Are you, getting healthier every day? And it's a long process. It's a long process.
No,
Crazy
man,
process.
Kennedy, man, he got that. Kenny, you got that perseverance, man, that like we all want at our 4th quarter in life.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is that when I got home to do my physical therapy, they did the 3-2-1, right? So first week it was 3 weeks, it was 3 days a week. The second week it was 2 days. The last week is just 1 day, and then the lady opted me to go to like a outside facility. So I kind of like something happened. My sister's son passed away right at the third part of my 3-2-1,
Mm.
and I didn't uh I didn't do any more therapy, because he had COVID too at the same time.
Right.
God rest your heart, Bongi, but he had COVID too, and he didn't make it. He came home with a lot of like extra underlining things. Like he had a tumor the size of a cantaloupe right by his kidneys.
Oh.
He had he had ulcers all over his body, so it was painful. If he had like the same support that I had, he would still be here. But there are things that happen in life that need to happen in life, and I thank God for his life.
Yes.
So Naki gets to me and she's telling me like, you gotta let the people know that you made it. And so I was like, yes, I will. I'll let the people know. And I thank God because he has there's still more for me to do.
Yes.
I haven't completed my route yet. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I said, people wanted wanted to wanted to pray for me. Even people they never prayed before in their life. They don't even believe in God. But they was knocking down his door to get my name to him. And I
Yes.
thank them all the time. I thank them every time I speak to them, every time like I'm around them, I keep thanking them. Like I lost a lot of weight in there too. Like, because, like Kennedy was saying, like you gotta, your eating habits change. So like, you know, um I wasn't eating the same when I came home. I still ain't eating the same. But what I'm saying, I thank God that he gave me a second chance at this life. And I do what I can to make sure that I maximize my efforts in this new walk. You
This
know what I
is
mean? Like somebody asked me like, where did you go when you was in the coma? And I said, as cheesy as it may sound, I went inside of myself and I had a long, drawn out conversation with myself of how to be more present when you're present.
mm,
and how to be more impactful when you're impacting people. You know what I mean? So like now I can't wait to get back to work because like my whole job, I do like violence prevention, gang prevention. It's about touching another person's life, and I can't wait to come out and like give people the story, but also utilize my resources to get somebody to where they need to be,
Right.
and where I can hand them off to whatever walk of life that they need to be at. So I'm real thankful, man, that I got another crack at it, like and I joke around still, I mean, I'm not like oh man, it's all serious. It's all no, I still joke around, And I also tell people I'm not here to tell you what to do with your body. You know what I mean? Like I believe everybody has a right to decide according to themselves
Right.
of what they need to do with themselves. Like if they're gonna take the vaccine, let it be because you want to take it for you, not because another person influenced you not to take it or to get it. I had a friend of mine, and he goes, and he's the one that broke my thought. He goes, "Let me ask you a question." I said, "Go ahead." He goes, when did you graduate?" And he's not even Samoan, so like this joke I wasn't expecting, man. But he was like, "When did you graduate?" I was like, "Graduate from where?" He goes, "Medical school." I was like, "What?" He goes, "Because apparently you got a lot of knowledge on this stuff." And he goes, "I hope you did your study." And that really put me in a place where I was thinking like, wow, you're right. I didn't study. I'm just taking secondhand information from somebody else who like they look like they study, but like they're just it's their own thought process. So
Right.
I'm here to tell folks to say like utilize your own time to research correctly according to you as the individual, not using somebody else's research to affect your own life. You know what I mean?
Right.
I
I
think
think
being a sorry, Nikki.
no, go
I think being a survivor gives you a different perspective,
Mm.
and being a survivor of something is where you get grateful for like tough moments. When I have tough moments, when I'm like, man, this sucks. I now look at that like, yeah, but at least I'm here to have this sucky moment. You know what I mean? Like the alternative is to not be around to have tough moments or have adversity, and it could be the other way around, that you guys aren't, if things would have went different. Most people don't come off the ventilator. Most people don't come out of ICU. Most people don't come out of comas. Um, the lesson there is for everybody that's not a survivor. You don't have to be a survivor to live like that, like to have the appreciation that Kenny and Soma have for life, and to live that way, and have that purpose and that gratitude and that appreciation. It helps to have cancer and survive cancer or survive COVID and all that, but I think that was one of the biggest things coming out of cancer for me, or living with cancer with me, was like just telling people, you don't got to have cancer to be as grateful as I am for life. I mean, it might help you, but it helped me. So I'm not one to say, hey, it's easy to see life that way, but you don't have to go through, like Naki's a cancer survivor. I'm a cancer survivor. These two, Kennedy and Soma, like were right on the edge of it, and they survived it. But you don't have to go through the things that we have gone through, especially what Kenny and Soma have gone through, to have that appreciation, and that like Soma says, I can't wait to get back to work. How many people say I can't stand my job, like I don't want to work, or I don't want to do this. And then now you've got Soma's like, I can't wait to get back to work. And Kenny's talking about getting back to climbing mountains. I'm not climbing mountains. I haven't had COVID, and I'm still not climbing mountains. But those are perspectives on life that you don't need COVID to have that.
Yeah, for me, I had a thing here or two, is that just some things you're saying, Carl, really is something I've, perspective, reflection, and so taking life for granted, and taking family for granted, My wife has been my rock. She's been my just everything, from before, during, and now after. And so my wife Linda's just been amazing. She's been just always encouraging to me. And so when I see her, I push that much harder, to survive, because I actually almost gave up. I don't know if you know that, Annette, but I actually almost gave up. But when I called my wife to tell her I was going to throw in the towel, because I was at that point,
Yeah.
I was breathing almost nonstop for heavy breathing. I forgot the term they use for it, but my body was just, I was like a marathon runner, running like 4 marathons nonstop. And I had no more energy left in me. And so when I called to say goodbye, to tell her I loved her, etc., with the kids and that kind of thing, and tears started falling, which gave me that strength to go again and stay in there, And um, so I don't take that for granted. Is what I was. The bottom line is just taking it for granted, because I've had family members who have lost this battle with COVID.
Right.
Sad days, sad days for family members who do have lost loved ones,
Right.
young and middle age and old. Whether you have underlying condition, I have one, and so the thing about it, I battle through those kind of things too. So thank the Lord, thank Jesus.
Yes.
I have like people who told my wife, and my wife relayed to me of churches, pastors, um, like our churches from Rob Hall, um, Lawa Sawao, Alex Tuina, um, Ray Mangale, and there's so many out there that have been praying for me. Their churches, their prayer groups. I mean, I wouldn't have survived. It wasn't my running, it wasn't my conditioning. It was the Lord. In my heart, I believe the Lord gave me a reason. Because why me? Why do I stay? Why all my relatives and friends who passed from this? And so, like someone says, if there's a message in me, it must be the next life. It's the eternal life. God's saying, be ready for that life more than the one here on earth. And so, trusting in the Lord, in the work that He did in Jesus, at the cross. And so, the thing about that is that I'm not afraid to die. I'm not afraid to die. I'm just sad that I leave the family behind.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, I'm not afraid of death. But the thing about it is, because I put my trust in Christ for eternity. And so that's where life begins. It doesn't end here, it begins there. And so we might say goodbye here, but I'm looking forward for the reunion up in heaven with our family members, our friends that believe also, And so the thing about this is that, I know that, in the last show that you had, or one of the last shows you had the doctors on there, and they're plead, and that's me. I'm with Soma. I'm against mandates. I'm against mandating people, forcing people to take the shot. I'm against that. But I would plead that you would. I would plead that you would, because if the science or the doctors are saying that this is going to prevent you from going to your grave soon, later, then I'm with it.
Right.
I'm with it. When I was growing up in school, going through the nurse's office or something like that, there used to be this sign in their offices. It's like an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
There
right?
you go.
And so the thing about this is the same thing with the vaccination, And so the thing about it is, it saddens my heart that some of my relatives who are passing away skipped on the shot. They skipped on the shot. When I caught COVID, I wasn't in line for the shot. My time was not up for it because I was waiting in line. First responders, and then it went by the age group, and so my age I wasn't due when I caught it. I wasn't even due until after I got out of the hospital with COVID. That's when I took my shot. I said, well, I ain't taking a chance because I know where I've been. I know what's going to happen if I may not get it. So I'm not going to take a chance. I mean, that's my trust is that I trust in those who study those things. I trust in those who mix those things, and so I'm trying to be around as long as I can for my wife, my kids, my family, my friends, whatever I can do to encourage somebody. But my message is to get there to heaven, And so the thing about that is putting your trust in the Lord. But the thing about bottom line, an ounce of prevention is a pound of cure. So if that means getting the shot, getting the booster, I mean, I'm all for it. I'm still one of those guys who take his flu shot. I've had it very bad one time to the point where, like, I'm saying, God, take me. I'm ready to die. That's just from the flu. And so I've experienced it with these pictures I have in the background. ICU on the ventilator, like my brother Soma was. I mean, we're struggling, we're fighting, we're battling just to get back home. And so we don't want to see you in those positions. And I'm talking to our island people, whatever island you come from. Even if you're not from the islands, you're still in the States or you're in Europe or you're in Africa, wherever you are. I mean, it's going to hit you just like it hits us. I mean, there's no boundary with COVID. It's worldwide.
It's worldwide. Yeah. And I really believe you and Soma. The reason why you guys are both here is because you have to tell your story so that someone can see that COVID is not a joke. And the severity of their symptoms and the reason why they're still here. We want to share their story because we want you to see that it's real and that they're telling you, they don't believe in mandate, but we want you to see what they went through, the struggle that they continue to fight even after they've been out of the hospital. It's so severe. And I caught COVID too, and the scars on my lungs still, it's been over a year and I still battle COVID every day. I never had asthma before, and because of COVID I do. But I encourage you to listen to their story, see their struggle, and know that the vaccine prevents you from getting severe symptoms. So thank you for sharing your story.
Now, can I add something?
Yes.
I do want to add is that the reason why I caught it, the reason why it was fatal for me is because I didn't wait the 30 days to get the vaccine. So I didn't get to that part. What happened was I got the vaccine, but I still had the COVID antibodies in me. So when they put in the vaccine to fight the COVID, they put the COVID in with the COVID. It's like the flu. They put the flu in with the flu. So, so what that did was it made me realize that when this booster shot came out, I was like, sign me up. Like, I'm ready to go. Sign me up. But then my nurse was like this, she was a Filipino nurse. No, Naki, I don't mean to talk about your people. But
pardon me. I'm sorry.
So she goes, no, you have to wait at least 6 months before you can get the booster shot. And I was like, what? I'm ready to get out of here and get the booster shot. She was like, no, you have to wait until like March to get your booster shot. And I'm like, all right, cool. But I got my second dose of the vaccine when I got to the new facility. So just make sure that you do your research and you're crystal clear that it's the research for you. You know what I mean? Don't do your research for somebody else. Right. So
and if you have questions, please ask a health professional, a doctor, a nurse, make an appointment.
Yeah, because Pookie not gonna help you out. You can't go down the street and be like, Pookie, let me ask you a question. You know what I'm saying? The vaccine, like, no, don't talk to Pookie because Pookie don't know. Pookie know just as much as you know. So do yourself a favor, the people that's watching, do yourself a favor and save yourself.
Yes.
Save yourself more than anything else. That's why when you're on the airplane, when they drop down those masks, they tell you if you're traveling with a baby, put a mask on yourself first, then put your mask on the baby, because you have to be alive to save the baby. You can't be worried about the baby and you die. So save yourself. Do yourself a favor and get yourself to a place where, because we got the Omicron that just came out. We got a lot of like strands coming out, right? So, and you really can't be like, man, the government, they just like, so what? It's gonna happen. But you have to do yourself a favor to protect yourself from these things. Like, don't be like, oh man, they trying to take my rights away from me. Your rights. That's why you got polio shots.
Yes.
Because they put this vaccine in place for us not to get polio. And I'm like, this thing ain't going away no time soon. It's gonna be here for a while. So while it's here for a while, you figure out, like like Brother Kennedy said, like, you figure out what you can do to help you along the way. Because I promise you, anybody who's telling you different, they will not take your place in your family when you go off.
Yeah.
When you gotta transition into the next life. Ain't nobody finna come and do your vows for you during the fire of loving.
No.
Ain't nobody finna come and help you with your part of the kusanga, because you can't be there to pay your part of the kusanga. So do yourself a favor and just and like I'm like Brother Ken, like I'm just glad that that with this second go around in life, I look at it as the redemption. I want to do whatever it takes, because I know, because I was like Kennedy, I was one of them people. I was in the hospital, because when you in the hospital, you by yourself. Ain't nobody finna come sleep, like you say, ain't nobody finna come sleep at the hospital with you.
Yeah.
So you by yourself for like damn near 23 hours a day. You ain't seeing nobody. You stuck in that room. So you just gotta you gotta do yourself a great favor. You know what I'm saying, and do what you can for you.
Exactly.
And not listen to somebody else, because they probably set you up anyway. So let me stop. So yeah, just just be a friend to yourself.
Yeah.
Be a friend to yourself and save yourself. And another thing, man, be nice to yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Be kind to yourself. You the only you got.
Exactly. Yeah. The hour flew by, but I'm so grateful that you two took the time to share your story. I love that you're here to tell your story, and that your family is able to enjoy every minute with you, Kennedy and Keresoma. But the government name, Keresoma. But
So,
we're
thank
so
you
grateful.
too, actually, for if I can thank you both for just having this type of
Yes.
show, this COVID survivor. I mean, the thing about it is, I'm hoping that both our stories touch somebody. We wanted to reach out there to let people know that, again, like you said, Sister Annette, this is real. It really is. I mean, it affected me. It's affected Brother Soma. It's affected so many of our family members worldwide. And so the thing about it is, pray about it. If you don't believe in it yet, pray about it. Do your research, find out your truth. The Bible talks about finding the truth that will set you free.
Yes.
And so the truth in this, but if really do that, do your best. So I pray that your audience, God gives them wisdom, strength, and knowledge to find this, and so they can have peace with themselves, because on their decision. Life is all about decisions, and every decision you make is going to affect you, and then there are consequences to those decisions that you make, good and bad. And so the good ones we love, the bad ones we wish we had a second round. With COVID, sometimes there's no second round. There's no second chance.
Right.
So the thing you want to do, look into this.
Yes.
Look into this for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones, and your friends. Let Jesus take over for you.
Thank you.
Thank you to both, Brother
Thank
Carl.
you, Brother Kennedy.
Love you both.
Thank you, Brother Soma. If there's any information and you have any questions, please put it in our chat and we will have a community health worker answer your questions. We're going to play an ad real quick before we go. Again, thank you, Brother Kennedy, Brother Keresoma. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I know I'm going to hit you with this.
Love you both.
Message. We love you both. We're going to play an ad. If we can have you two hold on after the ad and when we exit out. God bless you both. Thank you for sharing your journey. Mena's going to hit us with an ad
Protect
before
your
we
kids
leave.
with the COVID vaccine. Up to 1 in 5 new cases have been in kids. They are just as likely to get COVID as adults. Vaccines are safe and specially formulated for children 5 to 11. Questions? Talk to a health worker. We can do this.